Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunya Vadi Asadhyana Shataparine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gatata Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gatata Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Nitai Satchishundar, Nitai Satchishundar, Nitai Satchishundar, Jaya Nitai Satchishundar, Nitai Satchishundar, Nitai Satchishundar, Nitai Satchishundar, Jaya Nitai Satchishundar, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome Amrita Radhe Mataji, Rituan and Prakash. How are you? Amrita Radhe Mataji, how are you tonight?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we are fine, thank you so much. How are you?
Yes, fine, fine. Everything is fine. It's always fine. As devotees, it's always fine. Of course we are fine. If you're holding the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead all throughout the day, it must be fine, isn't it? We're holding Krishna's hand. Hare Krishna. If we let go of Krishna's hand, then it's not that fine. Is Rituan here?
He will join us, Prabhu, in a while.
Okay, fantastic. Prakash, how are you? We have already spoken. Yeah. Prakash is always 7 o'clock, and that is excellent. Okay, so let's choose a Bhagavad Gītā verse. Amrita Radhe, which verse would you like to discuss tonight? Just pick something.
Any verse from 12th chapter? 12.
Which verse? You told me, I didn't get that.
Prabhu, I'm checking 12th chapter if there's some verse.
Okay, okay, you're still looking. I thought you may have said it and I didn't get it.
No.
I'm waiting.
Checking.
Yeah. Just have a look. In the meantime, I share the screen.
12.10, Prabhu.
Say it again. Slow.
12.10.
12.10. 12.10.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, 12.10. Bhagavad Gītā 12.10. What are we getting here? Yes, that is not such a The Sanskrit, I don't particularly rings a bell. Oh yeah, the translation is very well known. Is Rituan here by now?
Actually, he's talking to my father. They're discussing something. He'll be here in, I think, another
because
20 minutes.
I heard his voice somewhere. So,
Yeah,
okay,
they're discussing something downstairs.
maybe, first of all, before we start, did you, I sent out today this beautiful short, YouTube short of Kadamba Kanana Swami. Did you listen to that?
Not yet, Prabhu. Actually, we were out the whole day. We just came like 20 minutes back, had our lunch, and then I logged into the class.
Yes, it was such a beautiful day today out. And I'm sure in Derby, even more beautiful. Spring is coming. Yes, listen to it. Maharaj explained about Nishta. Very nice. And we'll touch on that perhaps on Saturday. Nishta. Very, very nice. It's just very short. Prakash, did you listen to that? Kadamba Kanana Swami about Nishta. Are you there, Prakash?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Did you watch that short, very short, 1 minute or less video of Kadamba Kanana Swami on Nishta?
Just
Yes, that was very revealing, wasn't it? Very nice, very revealing. We'll touch on it again on Saturday when others are here. Amit is not here and Ben is not here at the moment. Okay. Amrita Radhimadaji, you want to chant that Sanskrit?
Okay, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. अभ्यासेऽपि असमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्मा परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. Translation: If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me you will come to the perfect stage. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. One who is not able to even practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master can still be drawn to this perfectional stage by working for the Supreme Lord. How to do this work has already been explained in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. One should be sympathetic to propagation of Krishna consciousness. There are many devotees who are engaged in propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor, and some organization to expand. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the results of his activities, the same person can still sacrifice some percentage to propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one to rise to a higher state of love for God, whereupon one becomes perfect.
Hi, thank you very much. What a beautiful verse you have selected. What a beautiful verse. Okay, let's discuss a little bit. Translation again. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfectional stage. First of all, I want to ask you, Amrita Radhe Mataji, why have you selected this verse?
Prabhu, no reason in particular. Actually, Padma and we just were thinking that 12th chapter, some verse can be discussed, and he said 10th verse. So that's how. Sorry, no definite reason.
So not a particular reason, just quickly find something, right? That's okay. So, we're speaking, someone has come. Amit, Hare Krishna, welcome. We're just discussing Bhagavad Gītā, 12th chapter, text 10. If you have the Bhagavad Gītā, bring it, put it in front of you. That is much easier. So you can look at the entire page at your own speed and so on. So, here Krishna says, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, what are the regulations of Bhakti Yoga? Amit, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then do this. There's a whole sequence of verses. If you cannot do this, do this. If you cannot do this, step one down. If you cannot do this, then do this. So there is something for everyone, for every level. When I looked at Bhagavad Gītā long time back, 48 years maybe, the first time, then these verses, this succession of verses, that impressed me very much, because I could find my own level where I am. It was not do this particular practice. If you cannot, you're useless. If you can, you will progress. It is not like that at all. And Lord Krishna doesn't just give one solution and there is no other way, black and white. No. Lord Krishna is very merciful. Okay, let's first of all switch that microphone on a more pleasant sound like that, or fuller sound. So Krishna is very merciful. He says the highest goal is like this and like this and like that. If you cannot do that, then do this. If you cannot do that, then at least do that. And it goes down, 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 up to the point. If you cannot do this, then do some pious work. Help some other people. Open a hospital. Or really a pious activity. At least that. And gradually by pious work and pious activity, we're rising up bit by bit. Over many lifetimes, or if we're very serious, in this lifetime even, up to the level of perfection, of the highest level of Bhakti Yoga, which is pure devotional service. So Amit, again the question, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, what are the regulations of Bhakti Yoga? Can you hear me, Amit? Yes.
Yes, the first one is chanting.
You come closer, much closer.
Yeah, chanting.
Yes, that's one of them. What else?
Yeah, so it's the same as 4 principles, isn't it? So no alcohol.
Not only alcohol. We don't say no alcohol. No intoxication.
No intoxication.
Right?
Yeah.
Which includes alcohol and drugs and smoking and tea and coffee and all of that. So no intoxication. What else?
No illicit sex, no drugs or caffeine.
No, what was that last one?
No caffeine, no drugs.
Yes, no intoxication, yes. What else?
Yeah, no garlic or garlic, onions.
That is not in that principles, but garlic and onion cannot be offered to Krishna because he will not accept it because in the mode of ignorance. So, and we should only take Krishna prasadam, so that makes garlic and onion, or we have to take then what is not offered, then we are having to take some karmic reaction for that. So, but that is not included in these regulations. Well, you could include it, I guess so. What else? That's it. 4 regulations, you said.
Yeah. That's
What are
it.
the other? You have mentioned 2: no intoxication and no illicit sex. What are the other 2?
No drugs.
That is intoxication. That's included. There are 2 more. I help you a bit here. Well, one obvious one: no meat, fish, and eggs.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that goes without saying, doesn't it? I mean,
No, it doesn't go without saying.
if you don't do that, then you shouldn't really be part of Krishna consciousness. I mean, for me, that's the natural. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And what is the last one? No gambling.
No gambling. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Of course. No gambling. I don't do any of them anyway, so that's why I don't really know them.
Yes, but these 4 we have to remember. We have to remember. When anybody asking what are the 4 regulative principles are: no meat, no fish, no eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sexual activities, relationships, and no gambling. That's the 4. Okay, so if you cannot practice, it's not as I just heard you saying. Then, if you cannot stop meat eating, then basically forget about Krishna consciousness. No, it's not like that. That's not what Krishna is saying. If you cannot practice these 4 regulations of bhakti yoga, which you just mentioned, plus chanting, then just try to work for me. So Krishna is saying, even without following this regulation, even if you are eating meat, so just try to work for me. And he's not even saying work for me, he said try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So anything done for Krishna, even if we cannot follow the regulations or all 4 regulations or 3 regulations or 2 or 1, still we work for Krishna and we will make progress bit by bit. So let's look through that purpose. One is not able even to practice the regulative principles of bhakti yoga. So here Srila Prabhupada said, if one is not able even to practice them under the guidance of spiritual master, of course, then we should work for Krishna. Which sounds pretty much like karma yoga, Bhagavad Gītā chapter, karma yoga. And here Srila Prabhupada says it is explained in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. Let's look at the 55th verse. Mad karma krin mad paramo, and so on. Oops, I unmuted myself. Muted myself. So what is Krishna saying here? My dear Arjuna, he who engages in pure devotional service, very high stage, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation. Of course, pure devotional service is free from fruitive activities and mental speculation. What we're talking about? Karma, mishra, bhakti, or jnana, mishra, bhakti. These are the 2 contaminations of bhakti. Karma, mishra, bhakti means if we have some bhakti, some devotion for Krishna, but we still attached to some degree to enjoy the fruits of our activities, the results of our activities. That's not pure. That has to go. All our tendency to enjoy the results for our activities. It doesn't mean we have to give up the results of our activities. Okay, I don't work anymore, so I don't have any results. No, that is not Krishna. Is not saying that. He's saying you have to give up to enjoy the fruits. Right? We can still have the fruits, but not enjoy it. Offer the fruits to Krishna. And mental speculation, that is jnana mishra bhakti. If we are still attached to mental speculation, we could discuss a lot of things falling under mental speculation. It's a pretty wide umbrella. Welcome, Jayanti Bhai. So, this is not pure. This is like, very often we hear the term unalloyed bhakti. Unalloyed, that comes from an alloy. In anyone who has been working with metals and melting metals and mixing metals, there's so many metals which are mixed. There are pure metals, but there are also mixed metals, like a mixture of a bit of zinc inside, a bit of brass inside, a bit of... So metals you can mix. But pure metal, pure gold, pure silver, pure copper, there is no mixture. So these metals which are mixed, that is called an alloy. An alloy. And there are unalloyed, means just the opposite. Pure. Like pure metal, like pure gold, silver, copper. No mixture of any other metal inside. So that unalloyed bhakti, that is called pure devotional service. Unalloyed, free from our desire to enjoy the fruits of our action and free from mental speculation. So Krishna says, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. So pure devotional service is here explained. Working for Krishna without desiring to enjoy the fruits, without mental speculation, and making Krishna the supreme goal of life. Not only the goal of life, the supreme goal of life. So Krishna is just everything in our life. It's not Krishna is playing some part in our life. Our main life is centered around, let's say, our family, our community, our so many things, friends and so on. And Krishna consciousness, whenever there is some time left, then we'll engage in Krishna activity. That's not what Krishna is saying. He's saying, one who makes me the supreme goal of life. Krishna is number one, not number 2, 3, 4, or 25. Krishna is number one. Everything else is coming secondary. Krishna is priority. Sometimes there's some conflict, some problems between all of our duties. What here in this verse, Krishna explains, if Krishna is top priority, when there's any conflict, Krishna is a priority. And everything else will automatically fall into place. And above that, he who is friendly to every living being. If we are on the pure devotional platform, we have made Krishna the supreme goal of our life. Naturally, we'll be friendly. Why? Because we see everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. We discussed that last last Wednesday, we touched on that. That automatically a devotee, a Krishna conscious person, a fully Krishna conscious person will be friendly to all living entities automatically, because he sees the super soul, he sees Krishna in everything and everyone. So he'll be friendly. And then Krishna says, such a person certainly comes to me. So that is very reassuring. Certainly comes to me. Okay. Let me see how I can get that. Okay, that bar is hidden. So let's go back. That was the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining. One should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. At least that. That is a great achievement. There is somewhere a very, very merciful purport where Krishna is, Srila Prabhupada is saying, if someone can appreciate this Krishna consciousness movement, he is to be considered just like the devotees. Because if one can appreciate, then certainly from that platform, one will make further progress. Right? So, if one is just even sympathetic, even that person may not be following the principles. That person may not be even a vegetarian, but if that person is sympathetic, he likes Krishna consciousness, then in due course of time, he will be more and more attracted, and he is on his way. In this lifetime or many lifetimes. So people appreciating this Krishna consciousness, they will make advancement. Of course, that puts a big responsibility on us. That responsibility of presenting Krishna consciousness in such a nice way that everybody will appreciate this Krishna consciousness. Everybody will feel attracted. If we just fighting amongst each other, for instance, and we quarreling amongst each other, nobody will be attracted. Nobody. So here we'll have the responsibility of presenting Krishna consciousness and being pure ourselves in heart. Not presenting Krishna consciousness as we, on our level, as we understand it, but with a pure heart, with a pure mind, honestly, because if we, whatever level we are in Krishna consciousness, that is, even without preaching actively, we attracting people. People will be impressed. People will be attracted. So more pure we are in our Krishna consciousness, so more we can attract people. After all, Krishna consciousness is all about attraction. Krishna means the all attractive. Krishna is the topmost attraction. But we, as devotees of Krishna, we are also attractive. Actually, devotees are attractive. Pure devotees are supremely attractive. How attractive Srila Prabhupada was. Absolutely amazing. Srila Prabhupada was so attractive. Whoever met Srila Prabhupada, he was drawn to Srila Prabhupada like a magnet to the iron to the magnet, rather. I have personal experience. Such a A pure devotee and a saintly person is very attractive. But devotees of a lesser level of realization, they're also attractive. So we are all attractive. Everyone here is attractive to other people, particularly to those who are a bit pious. It doesn't appear we are attractive to the demoniac people. No, we stay away from the demoniac people. But if someone is pious, then devotees are attracted, devotees of every level. And they're attractive to different degrees corresponding to their level of spiritual advancement. And this attractiveness, yes, that Krishna is within us. Let's say if we are 50% pure, we are 50% attractive to the pious people, at least. Because Krishna shines through us. We have recently spoken about the soul is shining. So Krishna shines to us. We should remember, as we have also discussed, it is just a covering, a lamp under a blanket. So we cannot be attracted to the light if the lamp is covered with a blanket, with a chadar. But we move that chadar a little bit away and some light comes out. So, that's very attractive. Everyone goes towards the light. And we move that blanket completely away and let that light shine. Then Krishna's attractiveness makes its appearance. So as a pure devotee is attractive as Krishna, as his representative. So if we 20% Krishna conscious, we also 20% attractive. So at least we should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Okay, there are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So here in particular in this verse, we're speaking about any person who cannot practice the 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds. That's not, we have not, at one point, we haven't been able to do that either. We didn't come to Krishna consciousness following the 4 regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds. No, we didn't. We came to Krishna consciousness and having followed maybe 1, 2, 3 principles, perhaps even 4 principles, but not chanting. And then we gradually made spiritual advancement by good instructions. We learn how to chant and we hear and get knowledge about the process of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna speaks, Srila Prabhupada speaks here about those who may not follow the principles, but who have Krishna in their life. Karma yoga. Karma yoga means, and karma yoga can be also, it's a sliding scale. Sometimes it's said karma yoga and bhakti yoga, there is no difference. Well, if karma yoga is very advanced, then it turns into bhakti yoga. There is no difference between karma and yoga and bhakti yoga. But karma yoga on the lower level, it means just what we have 5 minutes ago discussed. Karma yoga at the beginner's level, it means we have Krishna. We understand Krishna is a goal of life. But at the same time, we have material desires and we want these material desires to be fulfilled. We want to enjoy the result of our activities, fruitive activities. So we cannot give that up so easily. It's not that easy to give up the enjoyment spirit. It takes quite some realization and practice. And if we practice of chanting Hare Krishna consistently, that will automatically come, little by little. So if someone does not follow that all the principles and everything, he has material desires, he's practicing karma yoga on a lower stage. Still, devotees need help. Those who are fully engaged, there are all kinds of levels of devotees, all different levels, higher and lower, and everything in between. So, Srila Prabhupada says here, even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, that doesn't apply to us. I think so. I hope so. Because we all follow the principles of Bhakti Yoga and chanting, if not 16, then some amount. So if that is the case, we can try to help devotees who are fully engaged in their work. Like everything needs land, capital, organization, labor, just like a business, like a mundane business, to expand. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is if one is engaged in materialism, the goal of life is to sense gratification, and the other is the goal of life is to advance in Krishna consciousness and go back home to Godhead. So, but the same work, that is interesting. The same work we do in the material world for sense gratification can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna. So as we have mentioned many times, it's not the work what should be given up. It's just turning it around, the goal of the work. The work stays, but the goal is not anymore to satisfy our senses, but the goal is now to satisfy Krishna. And there is a sliding scale again. To satisfy Krishna, 1%, 2%, 50%, 80%, 100%, according to our development of our consciousness. And that is then spiritual activity. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or a temple for propagating Krishna consciousness. Or he can help with publications, printing, books, sponsoring books, and so on. There are various fields of activity. And such a person as described here, karma yogi, let's say, they should be interested in such activities. I do remember long time back in my Grihastha life, before I moved to the temple, long before, I used to give I became actually a member, ISKCON member, got a membership card, and I whatever I could find to sacrifice, I gave it to the temple. That helped the temple, that helped my spiritual advancement too. That's what's described here. So one can sponsor certain activities. I just regularly, every month, I try to, whatever I could find on extra money, I sent it to the temple. That was very nice. So here Srila Prabhupada says, if one cannot sacrifice all the results of his activities, like we heard this story, the devotee who came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to move into the temple. And then Srila Prabhupada asked, what are you doing now? And he said, I got the job, but I want to move into the temple. And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, you got the job. Why don't you keep your job? You can move into the temple, but keep your job and give all your pay from your job to Krishna. And the devotee did that. So that is here explained. Sacrificing the results of one's activities to Krishna. And that is 100%. The devotee did it 100%. But here Srila Prabhupada is explaining, if one cannot do that, then any percentage one can sacrifice, 1%, 2%, 50% for the propagation of Krishna consciousness. And what is the result? Voluntarily giving the result of one's work. Generally, the result of one's work means money. So voluntarily, if one gives the result of, or percentage of the results of one's work to Krishna consciousness, it will help one to rise to a higher state of love of God, whereupon one becomes perfect. Yes, all that will help one to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. It is so nice. It is so nice, Krishna consciousness, that as we progress from a very first beginner's level to getting more and more advanced, the doors are opening, and how it becomes clear how we can progress further. And if we are serious, tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. If we are sincere, Krishna will give us the intelligence, because the intelligence comes from Krishna. Krishna gives also the intelligence to those that might sound odd, but those who want to forget Krishna, Krishna gives them the intelligence also how to forget him. That's interesting. There are some people that want to forget God, that want to know nothing about God, that want to, as God doesn't exist. So Krishna will help them to forget God. That's what they want, that's what they get. But those who are eager to remember Krishna, those who are eager to make spiritual progress, Krishna will help them from within how to make further progress and come to him. Become perfect. Become perfect means become a pure devotee. Okay, do we have any questions so far? Amit, does it make sense?
Yes, probably that makes sense. I mean, that's the essence of Krishna consciousness. It makes totally sense to me.
Yes, that's the essence of Krishna consciousness. We should not forget that Krishna consciousness is a long road. It's a long road, and we are somewhere on that road. The spiritual path is a long road. It starts with one being a little bit pious, even just a little bit. Pious means engaging in some pious activity. There are many good activities, positive activities. Pious can even mean helping some other people who are in need. That is pious. There's so many, it's a whole range of millions of pious activities in opposition to impious activities. We know perhaps it's easier to define what are impious activities. Impious activity is activities which goes against the scripture, that is the definition also of pious. We follow the scripture. We follow the laws of God. Basically, let's put it like that. Following the laws of God, that is pious activity. Not following the laws of God, opposite to the laws of God, this is impious activity. Or we could say, following the laws of God, which are also the laws of nature, of course. This is pious. And whatever else there is, this is impious. So we're starting from a tiny little speck of pious activity. And then our pious bank account, that is all witnessed. Krishna is a witness within the heart. He's a Paramatma, he's a super soul. Whatever we do on pious activity, that is recorded. And whatever we do on impious activity, that is recorded too. There is an interesting phenomenon. Loads of people, particularly within the Indian community, I would say a majority of people, they know in their business dealing, impious for instance, they're cheating, right? Business people are usually cheating. There are not so many business people who do honest business. Srila Prabhupada was also a businessman. He was a clothes merchant, but he was a pious businessman. He didn't cheat others. He was an honest businessman. And also, interesting side story of that he always puts a little plate with some grains, some wheat or rice in his shop overnight. So the mice or even rats, they came and eat the wheat. There was a practical edge to it. Because they're eating the wheat and the rice, they don't eat his cloth. That's a side story. But he was pious. He didn't cheat anyone. He was doing an honest business. So, but nowadays there are many dishonest businessmen. They're promising something which they know exactly is not true. They're cheating people. So, these are pious activities, honest businessmen. So from that starting point of a little bit pious, there are many pious activities, there are many stories where someone is helping a lizard who has fallen into a well, helping out. That will appeal to you, Amit. Animals. There are a lot of pious activity one can do. A devotee would, out of natural love for all living entities. I mean, sometimes when a little bug or a little fly falls into the water in my bathtub or something, I could just flush her down. I never flush them down. I rescue them. I rescue the little fly, the little bug in the bathtub, which someone else would flush it down the drain. No. Save his life. Take it on your finger on a bit of tissue. Open the window. Out you go. So this also counts as pious activity if we're helping animals. We rescue animals from slaughter and so on and so on. These are all pious activities. So the road is long. We don't have to stay on that first step of that road, of that first turn. Then the road goes on and we executing a lot of pious activity. We're becoming a pious person. So, as I said, there are many people in the Indian community who think, who understand, business people mainly, others as well, they naturally they're performing some impious activity and say, no. If a business person is cheating the other person, they know what they're doing. It's not so by mistake I cheated someone. No. They're trying to squeeze out more profit by cheating some customer. Like Leicester Market, I have been there for a long time. What they do, they're building up the fruits. I'm sure you have been in the market, Leicester Market, or any market. Let's say apples. So building up in front of you on the table, on the front edge of the table, they're building up a huge pile of apple. And they're putting the nice and shiny side. They make sure the best side of that apple is towards the customer. Because naturally they have some good apples, good looking, some not so good looking, and some almost half rotten ones. So far so good to show the best side of the apple. But if they fill in a bag with apples from behind, and they're putting some rotten apples in between, that is cheating. That is purposely cheating. I've experienced that. They're not all that honest, and later on you come home and said, oh, there is 1, 2, 3 rotten apples. And I paid the price for the weight. You feel cheated. You have been cheated. You may not go back and it's not worth it, but they're counting on that you will forget about it. Because there's so much cheating going on everywhere, left and right. We are cheated everywhere. We are cheated when we pay for our electricity and gas and someone makes huge profits. That's also cheating. So cheating is commonplace. So these Indian people, they think, if I do some impious activities, let me do also some pious activities to balance it out. Let me go to the temple and pray a little bit. Because they know for their impious activities they have to suffer. They get a karmic reaction. They have to suffer their karma. So therefore they're going to the temple and doing some pious activities also to make it in balance. Does it work like that, Amit? Does that work? We can balance out the sinful, impious activities. We could also say sinful activities. Can we balance the sinful activities, the impious activities with pious activities? And if we do 5 impious activities and we do 5 pious activities, and it's quit. Does it work like that, Amit? What do you think?
No, I don't. You can't do impious activity.
No, you cannot balance it out. Many may think you can, but we've spoken about that in the past. You can't, because you have to get the reaction, the karmic reaction of both the impious and the pious. So there was a story that someone was brought to Yamaraj, the messenger, the Lord of the lower planets, to punish the living entities. And he has done like that, to balance out pious with impious. And then Yamaraj asking him, okay, so he asking, why I'm here? I have balanced this all out. Why I'm here? There's a mistake. I shouldn't be here in Patalaloka, in Yamaraj's kingdom, where the sinful living entities are punished. So Yamaraj told him, no, you have done pious and impious activities, and you must get the result from both. So what you want to do, that you can decide. You want to first go to hell and be punished for your impious activities, and then go to heaven and enjoy for your pious activities? Or you want to first go to heaven and then to hell? So that story makes it clear. So it doesn't balance each other out. We have to get the result of both. But if we engage in Krishna consciousness, then there is no question of pious and impious, because Krishna consciousness is transcendental. It's spiritual activities. They're neither pious nor impious. They're spiritual activities. They're beyond. Transcendental means beyond. So that is the best course of action, of course, to engage in transcendental activities. We won't get any pious result nor impious result. We'll march on the road of spiritual progress. So back to the long journey. So at one point we have enough faith. We associate with devotees. Shraddha is a faith. That is first. Anybody who comes to associate with devotees or studies Bhagavad Gītā and associating with Srila Prabhupada in that way, that's also a point. There must be some faith. If someone doesn't have faith in the Bhagavad Gītā, he will not even touch it. He will not read it. There are many stories where Bhagavad Gītās have been distributed, and the man who was not pious enough, he couldn't value the Bhagavad Gītā enough. He took a Gita and gave a donation for it. He brought it home, he put it on the bookshelf. He never read it. Well, he gave a donation for the Bhagavad Gītā, and so he gets a benefit for that, sure. But he never read it. He touched it, yes, of course. Then his son, he saw the Bhagavad Gītā on the bookshelf. He took it, he looked at it, he had no faith. So he wasn't interested. He put it on his bookshelf in his room. Then his friend came one day. He saw the Bhagavad Gītā because it was shining on the bookshelf. It's not an ordinary book. It was shining. He took the Bhagavad Gītā and he had enough faith. He read it and he became a devotee. So, very interesting. These books are shining on the bookshelf. When I have been at Leicester University in my music studies, long time back, I went to the university library, all grey books. Anyone who has been in a university library, you will see grey volumes and volumes of books. And then I came across an aisle with also grey books, and something was shining. And I looked up, and there was a whole Srimad Bhagavatam was shining on the top shelf of the books. A whole set of Bhagavatam. I took them down, or 1, 2 volumes down, and I looked. It has never been lent out to anybody. They have been there for years, but nobody had ever enough pious credits, enough faith to take that Bhagavad Gītā. They were interested only in their books to study and to get a good degree and to earn a lot of money. And so there was no interest in the Bhagavatam. So it all depends on faith. That's the first stage, Shraddha. And that Shraddha brings us to sadhu sangha, into the association of devotees, in the association of Bhagavad Gītā, and eventually also to the association of devotees. I came only to the association of the Gita for a few years. I did not know there were devotees. That was in Germany a long time back. would I know? And I read the Gita. I had association with Srila Prabhupada. And one day I realized there was an address. So I phoned them, and in that way I discovered there was a temple in Germany, in Frankfurt. Beautiful temple. And then that was the next step. So that faith, that Shraddha, leads us into Sadhu Sangha, the association of devotees. Once we're in the association of devotees, they help us, they train us how to engage in bhajana kriya, means devotional service, practical devotional service. Maybe the first practical devotional service for me was when the head puchari was saying, "Can you please pick some flowers for Radharani?" That was my entry ticket through Srimati Radharani. First service, direct service for Srimati Radharani. Because those flowers, I mean, this is Astarata Prabhu. He was like guru to me. He introduced me. He gave me the first devotional service to pick some flowers for Srimati Radharani. And the next morning, Srimati Radharani had these very same flowers I picked in her hand, ready to offer those flowers to Lord Krishna. Isn't that beautiful? Someone else may get some different services. Okay, can you help washing these pots? Can you sweep the floor? It's all the same. All devotional service. No difference. No higher, no lower. Anything for Krishna. The higher and lower comes in how much devotion and faith we're putting in. So that is bhajana kriya, engaging in practical devotional service. Practical devotional service means also coming here every Wednesday and Saturday and hear about and discussing about Lord Krishna and his pure devotees. That is bhajana kriya also. Or coming on a Saturday to the temple. Amit has such a great time on the Saturday. Beautiful last Saturday. And we also appreciate it very much, Amit coming. Hey, Amit is here, Hare Krishna. And we ate prasadam, respected prasadam together, and very nice. So that is practical devotional service. And chanting our rounds at home, that is also practical bhajana kriya. And reading Bhagavad Gītā, that is bhajana kriya also. So after bhajana kriya, if we do regularly, therefore we're stressing so much, chant. Amit, you will remember that. Chant regularly your rounds. Because there was a time for everybody. We chant whenever we felt like. Today I feel good, let me chant some Hare Krishna. Other day I don't have time, I don't feel so good. I tried a little bit, but I wasn't inspired, so I stopped it. So at that time, you may remember, I encourage you, chant regularly. Doesn't matter if you chant 1, 2, 4 rounds, 8 rounds, but do it regularly every day. So by that regular chanting, we're making spiritual progress. It just says a saying, a steady drop makes a hole in the stone. We have seen that. There is some dripping in the mountains or wherever over a long time, hundreds of years maybe. And just a steady drop of water coming from above makes actually a mold, a hole in the stone. The stone is so hard, but it's a steady drop. So our steady chanting Hare Krishna every day, our prescribed rounds, that makes a difference. We make progress. And that is an anartha nivritti stage. Anartha nivritti. A clearing of the heart. It's a clearing stage. It's a long stage, it appears like. But it can be as long and as short as, depending on our sincerity, determination also. When and how much garbage we have actually in our heart and in our mind, depending on that as well. Where is that garbage coming from? We all have garbage. We all know what it means. Garbage in our mind, in our heart, means we are attracted to But particular types of enjoyment in this material world, that's a garbage. We cannot enjoy. Krishna is an enjoyer. If we want to enjoy in this material world, we are thieves. We're taking it from Krishna and want to enjoy it for ourselves. We have spoken about it. Like the neighbor has a beautiful racing Lamborghini, and we just, the keys are in, we climbing in, and there we go. I want to enjoy his car. But it's his car. It's not your car. You haven't even asked permission. Nothing. It's criminal. So if we take Krishna's energy, everything we can see and form, everything we can taste, touch, hear, it's all Krishna's. We haven't made it. He made it. His energy, his material energy. It's all his. If we just take it without gratitude, without thanking him at least, without being conscious it's coming from him, so we are thieves. We are thieves. We are not thieves if we take it and we offer it, prasadam. We don't just eat food. We buy it and because we want to enjoy it, and we eat it. End of story. We are thieves. But we buy it, we offer it to Krishna, and then we respect it by eating it. Then we are not thieves. Therefore, Bhagavad Gītā explains those who prepare food for their own sense gratification, they verily eat only sin. How can we eat sin? It means we will get a sinful reaction. We get a reaction, bad karma. We have to suffer. Sinful means we have to suffer. Pious means we have to enjoy. Life is full of happiness and distress. The distress comes from sinful activities. The enjoyment comes from pious activities. So it's a mixture. So therefore we need to be Krishna conscious 24/7. Say no sinful reaction will touch us. No bad karma. So back to the point. This anartha nivritti is a clearing stage, depending on many things. But amongst the many things, one thing is how much garbage we have in our mind and in our heart. We know. When we have the desire to enjoy, that's a garbage. When we have that attraction to serve Krishna, to do something Krishna, that is not garbage. That is positive, spiritual activity. So according to that, not only from in this lifetime, but in many, many previous lifetimes, that garbage is accumulating. How comes that impious garbage in our heart and that pious results can accumulate even after leaving this body? Because when we leaving this body and we reincarnate, we take another birth in this material world. Our mind, our intelligence, and our false ego goes with the soul, with ourself, to the next body. So we're taking the mind with us. Amazing. We're taking the mind with us, the intelligence, the false ego. Therefore, there's a consistency when we take a new birth. It's the same mentality as in previous life. Different body we have, but the mentality, all the garbage and the good things in the mind, we take that into the next body. That's a continuity. It's a soul, of course, that's a continuity above all. But along with the soul, which we are, we take the mind, intelligence, and false ego with us. So therefore, over many, many lifetimes, this garbage, this desire for sense gratification, they accumulate. So according to that, the anartha-nivritti stage, that cleaning stage, will be individually longer or shorter. Just like when we put things in the washing machine. Very, very dirty linen and other things will need a very long cycle of washing. And perhaps when it comes out, we have to put it again in the washing machine because it's still not clean. Still some stains there. And those things which are a little bit soiled, a little bit dirty, they will wash very quickly. So same. How? Depending on how much pollution is there in our consciousness. That anartha-nivritti stage will take longer or shorter. Then, if we come through that anartha-nivritti stage, we come to a stage, that is what I, at the beginning of tonight, explained, which Kadamba Kanana Swami explained. That's a nishta stage. Nishta. Steadiness. And he explained, and that was quite interesting to note, in that nishta stage or nishta platform, it's not that Maya is not there anymore. Maya means, of course, illusion. The illusion we can enjoy in this material world, that's the illusion. It's not that we are free from this illusion, but this Maya is at some distance. That's interesting how he put it. Maya is at a distance. Before, Maya was not at a distance, Maya was right next to us. It's different if Maya is next to us or if Maya is at some distance. Because if Maya is at some distance, we have a good chance of not being constantly influenced by her. If Maya is right next to us, we are helpless. We are constantly under her illusory energy. We hardly can even get out of that for a second. But if Maya is at some distance, okay. So Maya is still there, and it still can pull us down in certain circumstances. But we're learning from that more and more. So Maya is in a distance, but we are, nishta means steadiness. We are on a steady transcendental platform. That's how Maharaj put it. And I can only full-heartedly agree. We are on a steady transcendental platform. So our practices are fixed. Our mind is pretty much fixed. But Maya is still there at a distance. That Maya disappears when we come to the higher stage, when we come to Ruci. Ruci means taste. Right? After that, nishta. So Maya is at a distance, and we practicing regulated devotional service, steady like a rock. Nothing can deviate us from our Krishna conscious duty. Of course, that is not an easy stage to achieve. It's a glorious stage to come to that. Nothing can divert us from our Krishna consciousness. Then if we on that platform, and we're progressing further, then we get a taste. It goes hand in hand. We get a taste of Krishna consciousness. We get a taste of chanting. Oh, we love chanting. We cannot stop chanting. We're chanting all day long. So much taste we got. A taste in hearing about Krishna, a taste in speaking about Krishna, a taste in every activity of Krishna consciousness. And that taste will increase. And then we come to a stage of asakti, attachment. more than attachment. Asakti. How would you translate? Amrita Radhe, help me. Or Rituan Prabhu. Asakti translates as what?
Sorry, Prabhu. Can- which one was-
Asakti.
Asakti means like attachment.
Attachment, yes. Thank you. So, after that, steadiness of Nishtha, we're coming to Ruci. We're getting a taste. We want to chant. We want to hear. We want to preach. We want to engage in all the Krishna conscious activities. Not just we want to eat prasadam. Yes, that included, of course. But all the others as well. And then asakti. Attached. We become so much attached to Krishna. We can never give it up. Until we come to the higher stages of Bhava. Bhava, transcendental emotions. Directly reciprocating with Krishna. In a real way. As if. Real meaning to say, when we have a friend physically in front of us, that appears pretty real, or our husband or our wife, and there is an exchange of emotion, all kind of emotion, loving emotion, there may be disappointment, there may be anger sometimes, there may be this, there may be that, so many emotions. So in that sense, that appears to be very real. So on the stage of Bhava, our emotions are as real as our material emotions, but these emotions are exchanged not between ourselves and our husbands and our wives and our children, our friends and our parents. These emotions are exchanged with Krishna. That is Bhava, which is a forerunner of prema, love of God. So that is a whole journey, starting from a little bit of piety, all up to full-blown love of God. A long way. And we can accomplish it in this lifetime. Srila Prabhupada said, 50 years is more than enough to become fully Krishna conscious. Perfect. Pure devotee. More than enough. So maybe 40, maybe 45. Depending. It takes some, that's just an indication. It takes a bit of time. Of course, we can become Krishna conscious in just a second. Srila Prabhupada said that too. How long does it take? A second. If you surrender to Krishna, it takes a second. But generally, it takes some time. We're working ourselves up that platforms we have just discussed. So that is a whole long road, or as long or short as we like it to be, of Krishna consciousness. And in this verse, the beautiful verse tonight, it starts with faith, of course, but it starts with someone who knows Krishna is a goal of life, but a person who is unable to even follow the principles. But he is working for Krishna. It's like an army. An army needs everything. An army needs foot soldiers, infantry in front. It needs officers, it needs behind, and so many different levels of soldiers. And even those far behind, the cook. An army runs on its stomach. It's very important. There is food for the soldiers in front. So the cooks behind who cooking food, and it's sent to the soldiers in front. They're as important as the soldier, because without the cooks, the army would all fall into pieces. They cannot maintain themselves. So everyone in that long chain of Krishna consciousness is important. So that person who may not practice the regulative principles, and so some people say never practice the regulative principles in this lifetime, they like Krishna consciousness, and they want to support Krishna consciousness. They cannot practice it themselves, but they like it, and they think it's a good thing, and they want to support it. And they do so in various ways of sponsoring books and so on, and helping the temple, and sponsoring preaching programs, and giving some money from their hard-earned labor to Krishna. So they are also important. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya's army moves ahead. It supports those who preach in Krishna consciousness actively, full-time. So that is that verse where Lord Krishna describes this kind of person. If you cannot practice even the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, but you try to work for me, do something for me. Because of that work, you will also come to the perfect stage, to the pure devotional stage. Simple. That whole Krishna consciousness is actually very, very simple. And Srila Prabhupada said, it's simple for the simple, means the simple-minded, simple-hearted people. So simple for the simple and complicated for the complicated and crooked. It's not at all complicated. It's very straightforward, very simple process. But we need some determination, good guidance, and then we will make progress on this path in one lifetime or two. And any of that progress we're making now, of course, that is never lost. As we have just explained, that we're taking that mind intelligence and false ego with us. If we take another birth in this material world, it all comes with us. So our spiritual progress, our cultivation of bhakti, whichever stage we are on, let's say we have risen to the stage of nishta in our devotional practice, but then our life is ended, or we're falling away due to Maya still being in the distance, but she got a grip on us somehow or other. We're not immune at that stage. Maya is still there at a distance, and she can lure us as soon as we spoke about that, as soon as we get a little bit relaxed, or I should rather say lax. We get a little bit lax, a little bit inattentive. We say, oh, now I worked so hard, let me just sit down, and I'm so tired. I worked in my shop. Let's put on the television, put the feet up, and just enjoy the evening like that. Let's get some biscuits from the shop and some chocolates and a little bit of tea. So if we do like that, then Maya immediately, she finds that crack, that little opening Maya finds, and immediately she will influence us. Immediately the three modes of material nature will be there with us. That will happen, and we should learn from it. Why did it happen? If it happens, Maya pulls us down. Again, Maya has overcome us. Then we should analyze. Where did I leave a gap? How did Maya enter? Again, I didn't want her to enter, but where did I become lax? Where maybe I didn't chant my rounds very attentively. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe I committed offenses, 10 offenses, we spoke about it, against the holy name. Where was the gap? And that is the analytical part of our Krishna conscious psychology, we could almost say. So we find out where the gap was, and then we close the gap. We close it. And next time, we don't open that same gap again. Now, Maya may come again to another gap. So we close that gap as well. And eventually there will be no more gaps. And Maya will stay at a distance. We don't become complacent in our Krishna consciousness. There was a nice story. One devotee came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, Maya is always trying to attack me. We can say that too. Maya is trying to attack me. And then Srila Prabhupada said, very good. So the devotee said, what do you mean, Srila Prabhupada? Very good. Very good. You can recognize when Maya is trying to attack you. That's the first thing. We can recognize where Maya is attacking us. It is like an army again. We find out where is the enemy trying to break through. Where are our weak spots? And if we recognize where our weak spots, we have some reinforcements there. And we're closing all the weak spots. Or with the example of the boat, we're closing all the holes. No more water comes in, no gaps anywhere. So that we should do. It's a learning process. And we can learn from those who have learned already more than we. And we're helping those who are still struggling more than we. So we have all good fortune of all kind of devotees. In fact, it becomes our duty to help those who are struggling more than we. We have to. It's our duty. We have to help. We have to help by good instructions. And in whatever way, we have to pain our brain how we can help. Not only helping those who are completely fallen. That is also going on. But helping the devotees as well. Devotees are struggling on different levels. So if we have gone through these struggles and we have come out as the other side to whatever extent, it's our sacred duty to help those who are struggling as we have been struggling. Let's put it like that. So in this way, everybody is moving ahead in Krishna consciousness. Okay, here we stop and a few questions and any question. Amit, ask a question. Amrita Radhe, Ritua, ask a question. Don't forget, Srila Prabhupada said, asking question is a sign of intelligence. Or even asking question is a sign of attention. Because if we have understood everything, then if I ask you something, then you should be able to give the answers. Ask a question. It's a sign of intelligence. I'm convinced everybody is very intelligent here. So, questions. Ritua.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Like, I mean, not a question, but like a comment in the sense, like what, as per my own experience is that sometimes, like, as you're mentioning, like Maya will try to find a gap or a crack, and it will enter. Maya will enter through that crack. So we have to be 24/7 Krishna conscious. But like, I'm speaking about myself from my experience. Like, sometimes it happens like, as because we are grihasthas and we have got so many responsibilities in the sense, like, office jobs, and there are so many complexities while working outside, so many tension and stress related to the job. Though, like, like Srila Prabhupada has said that a grihastha who is Krishna conscious would think like even his job he's doing for Krishna, like whatever he gets, as you mentioned, like charity, donating to the temples. So that is all right. Like, like if we can evolve ourselves, evolve our consciousness, and make an effort like that, like giving donations and charities, well and good. That is fine at the end of the month. And we are thinking that whatever we are doing is for Krishna. I mean, keeping ourselves in that consciousness. But sometimes it happens, the complexities and strugglings of life itself is so much that sometimes we forget Krishna, in the sense like uh, we are so much engrossed in getting rid of the sufferings, rid of the stress and frustrations. We tend to sometimes forget Krishna and feel that when will these stress and strugglings go away, so that we can sit at some place at peace and then think of Krishna. So there's like sometimes like these things also come into the mind, and like we feel we feel down in Krishna consciousness, not because like we don't like Krishna consciousness, not because like we don't enjoy chanting, in the sense we don't feel happiness in chanting. There are some instances or some days where we feel really happiness during chanting or doing devotional services, like feel like okay, 16 rounds has been finished, but I have got time, let's do another 2 rounds. But other days, particularly related to, I'm talking about particularly related to the complexities of life or job or stress. So totally different type of negative influence comes, and we totally lose interest in everything, including Krishna consciousness, in the sense like, oh, it's too tired, I'm too tired. Maybe like we are doing everything, like doing the 16 rounds and doing whatever sadhana, book reading, but they feel mechanical on those days, like just like a ticking on the list. So how to
Yes,
overcome that?
I understand. Yes, that's a common problem. It's nothing in particular special. That's a common problem. Everybody goes through that. Yes, these are the problems. First point, uh, two points I want to make. First point, uh, it is relatively easy to work and then to give some sort of result to the temple. That's relatively easy, which is almost, that in itself is almost on the level of karma yoga. We have our sense gratification, but we give also something to the temple. So both is there. Sense gratification, so you could say that is karma mishra bhakti. That's relatively easy, karma mishra bhakti. We can keep our sense gratification, or occasional sense gratification, or regular sense gratification, but we also do something for Krishna. And is no doubt, if we're sincere, this karma mishra bhakti will eventually get more and more purified and come to Shuddha bhakti, to pure bhakti. It's bound to. It's bound to. Nobody will stay on that karma mishra bhakti for eternity. It would be boring, to be a karma mishra bhakta again and again, because as a karma mishra bhakta, we have to take another birth and another birth and another birth. And we're doing a karma mishra bhakti. We may go to the heavenly planets and then we come down again. But birth and death and birth and death. We at one point will be tired of that. Of course, we can go to the higher planetary systems. Srila Prabhupada's first book, and the first book I read incidentally also, Easy Journey to Other Planets. Yes, we can go to higher planets where life is much more pleasant than here. But it's not a solution. Eventually we'll come to the understanding we have been going around and around until Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhakti Lata Beach, until we come to that point where we get that seed of devotional service. And we have been wandering up and down, higher planets, lower planets, and so on, and we'll become tired of that. It's just the same old story. So that's the first answer to part of what you have said. The second, we forget when things are very stressful. We forget Krishna. Things are so stressful. There's so many pressures, so many responsibilities, that Krishna is not there. He's there, yes, but our activities become hackneyed, it become dry, it become tasteless. It becomes just a ritual. And anything can become a ritual. It's not only the chanting will then be dry and become a ritual. No utsaha, no enthusiasm is not there. And even the arti becomes just circles with a lamp. Which obviously arti is not just circles with a lamp. There's much more to it. We are directly worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We forget it's just circles around, and the deity becomes then a metal statue, and the spiritual master becomes an ordinary human being, or at least a fallible human being, or anything like that. So that can happen. But strange enough, when we are under distress, and so much stresses and so much responsibility, and that we're forgetting Krishna. Actually, the opposite should be true. In those distress, we should take shelter of Krishna. Sharanagati. We should take shelter of Krishna. When the distress from work and so on becomes piling up, and it will pile up, there's no question. It's not that there won't be any distress. No, distress will come. But at those times, especially at those times, we should take shelter of Krishna. Because we cannot solve the distress ourselves. So, Krishna, please, I surrender to you. Please, help me. I'm calling out for you. Inspire me, enlighten me. Bring me that utsaha, that enthusiasm, which keeps me going, that enthusiasm, spiritual enthusiasm that keeps us going. So, on a practical note, at those times we feel that enthusiasm is not there and everything becomes routine. We have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to pick out the Bhagavatam, pick out Bhagavad Gītā. More than at any other time. Pick it up. You're suffering. You under stress. Pick out the Bhagavad Gītā. Sit down in a quiet corner and just read. Just read. And Krishna will answer your stresses. And Krishna will answer your problems. No doubt. I did that long time ago. I wasn't living at the temple. I was living on my own or with some other people. I had the Bhagavad Gītā. And I was way not Krishna conscious then. I was all over the place in my mind. But I was attracted by Krishna consciousness, and I was certainly attracted by Srila Prabhupada, and I was certainly attracted by the Bhagavad Gītā. I knew here is what I have always been looking for. Here is a fresh water directly from the spring. Not 5 meters down, 10 meters down, 5 miles down, 50 miles down the stream. No, directly from the spring, right next to me. That I could understand. So whenever I had some trouble, I picked up somehow or other, I don't know, that was my good fortune. Somehow or other, I picked up the Bhagavad Gītā for guidance. And the Bhagavad Gītā always helped me. 100%, always helped me. Always got me back on the track. I always, let's put it like that. And therefore this verse, what we're studying tonight, that has been one of my favorite verses some 48 years back. Because there were some instructions of pure devotional service which I were far away from doing. Or practicing the 4 regulative principles I was far away from doing. I broke them, some of them, and others of them, on a regular basis. That was my life at that time. So I was far away from these higher instructions. And then Bhagavad Gītā gave me hope, because then Lord Krishna is saying, if you cannot do this, then at least do this. If you cannot practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, then do work for me, do something for me. And that was that stage where I actually decided I give some money to the temple, and I did it. And if you cannot, Krishna goes even further down, if you cannot do this, do something, work for me in some way, then do some pious work. Work in a hospital, do some voluntary, some charity work, this or that. So, in times of trouble, I took Bhagavad Gītā. And I always found a way of upliftment, because there was always a way which was where I was, where I truly was. And there was an instruction to engage with Krishna in some way or other at every stage. So the short answer is really, if we are troubled, if we are under pressure and stressed out, the more we should take shelter of Krishna in one way or another. Of course, one could argue, but I forget at this time to take shelter of Krishna. So what to do? We forget to take shelter. But we don't forget to do our duty, to do our rounds. Reading helps a lot. Reading helps a lot. Perhaps reading is, it helped me at least. Perhaps reading is the first thing we shall do. Of course, you're not anywhere where I was at that time, because I broke almost, if not all, the principles. You're not there anywhere. You're long past that stage. But still, when we are troubled, the mind, what is troubled? The mind is troubled. And as soon as we get some enlightenment, and if we read Bhagavad Gītā, for instance, or Bhagavatam, we will get enlightenment. There is no question. It's because it's Krishna himself. We will get inspiration. But the problem is to want to pick it up. If we don't pick it up, then what can be done? That's a problem. At least we have to come to the point, okay, let me pick it up. We can compute that in our mind. We are in trouble, pick up the Bhagavad Gītā. Anywhere, open any verse. I did like that. I opened Bhagavad Gītā anywhere. Not any particular searched out verse, no. I had no idea of the structure of the Gita or anything like that. I never read it cover to cover at that time. I just opened it anywhere. But in sincerity, I want, please Krishna, help me. I'm in trouble. I'm stressed out. I'm full of anxiety. I'm in impossible material situation, emotional situation. I'm a wreck. And with that wanting to, taking shelter, with firm faith, I opened the Bhagavad Gītā anywhere. And always it spoke to me. Krishna spoke to me in the most inspiring way. And after I had read a few verses, I was perfectly all right. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhu. We'll try. Yes, Hare Krishna.
More than just chanting, because the chanting will then also be mechanical. But reading the Bhagavad Gītā, it's bound to directly be contacting Krishna. It's bound to inspire us. It's bound. And reading the purport, of course. It speaks to us directly. Srila Prabhupada speaks to us. Krishna speaks to us from within the heart. And then the utsaha is back. And then all once that utsaha, that spiritual enlivenment is there, then all our stresses are gone and we can deal with everything very peacefully. Okay. Anything else?
No, Prabhu, thank you.
Let me know how it works next time. Stress will come. Same situation will come again and again and again and again. Well, try it out with the Bhagavad Gītā, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, whichever. Try it out and let me know if it works. If it works once, it will work twice and every time.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, here we stop, and has been a bit longer session tonight. So time is passing by quickly. And we'll meet again on Saturday. We have actually a new devotee, has been a devotee, I don't know, James, near Leicester. He phoned me, and he has been in India, apparently. He has come across the literature of Krishna consciousness. He likes Kirtan, and he wants to come and join us on a Saturday, possibly next Saturday. And if that doesn't work out, he will join us on Zoom on the Wednesday after. So let's see who Krishna is sending here. And that is beautiful and nice. Okay, return. Amritarati Mataji Chayanti Bhai, Hare Krishna.
Hare
We
Krishna.
stop for tonight.
Hare Krishna.
See you Saturday. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.